Welcome to Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness through intentional living. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Danger never takes a vacation. Always be aware of your surroundings. That's what we'll be talking about today. How to become more aware in public for our safety. All right, before we get started, I'd like for you to go ahead and hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions for better health and wellness. Thank you for joining me today. You know, a lot of crimes happen, right? And we know that danger is always lurking everywhere, right? And just to quickly throw out some statistics out there for you, basically, there are, according to Deep Sentinel analysis of 10 U.S. cities, 55% of crimes happen during the day, while 45% happen at night. The FBI also supports this data, with only 44% property crimes reported in 2022 occurring at night. Now, how many of you have heard about these kidnappings and assaults that takes place in broad daylight, in Walmart parking lots, in these shopping areas, right? Broad daylight. It's happening, folks. And I wanted to do this episode today so that we can become more aware. We need to be more aware, not just for ourselves, but for our children as well, our little ones, right? For those of you with young children, grandchildren, we need to be more aware. Now, I just want to show you a quick clip on an episode here on Inside Edition. All right, check this out.
A scary moment for a woman entering her apartment when a man tried to force his way in. He wasn't successful, but Amber Cogliano says the woman is sharing video of the moment in hopes of teaching other people ways to stay safe.
A terrifying moment. A panicked woman is desperately trying to get into her apartment before it's too late. A creep bolts down the hallway, coming right for her. She escapes with a second to spare.
Hey, yo, miss.
The drama unfolded at 2 a.m. when the woman arrived home from a long day at work. She says she noticed the stranger lurking outside her building in the Bronx, New York. You can see him go up the stairs. She's apparently unaware that he's right behind her. Once inside, the suspect takes off after her. She gets inside in the nick of time.
Open up the door. Excuse me. Excuse me.
The lucky woman with the red hair and her family are so terrified today, they did not want their faces shown.
At this point, she wouldn't want to go outside to work or anything because she's scared this will happen again.
Can you believe the doors to the building were unlocked that night and remained so when Inside Edition was there?
It's the moment of vulnerability we face every day. You're outside your home, your keys are in your hand, you're about to open the door, anything can happen.
Security expert Manny Gomez offered some important safety tips.
This is an alarm. It could save your life. It's very easy to use. You just pull it.
Oh, that's loud.
That's right. It's loud. It'll act as a deterrent.
Old-fashioned pepper spray I see you have.
Old-fashioned pepper spray as well. It's been around for decades, and it works really well. You just flip the cap and put it into somebody's eyes. That person will immediately have a negative burning sensation reaction, and it'll give you time to escape and evade that assailant.
He also showed me a self-defense technique.
You could grab and knee to the groin, fingers to the eyes, chop to the throat.
Hopefully you will never find yourself in a crisis like this.
Hey, yo, miss.
The woman says her guard is now up. Her family is keeping a close eye on her whenever she does leave the apartment.
This video was very disturbing, okay? This young man, followed this woman outside, and she was getting off work. She wasn't coming from partying, doing whatever. She was coming from work. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning. And she's entering her apartment or coming into the building and was unaware of the person coming in behind her. How many of you actually pay attention to your surroundings when you're at the supermarket, when you're entering buildings, when you're just being aware, paying attention to your surroundings, right? We have to be more aware. I'm so glad that she was able to quickly I mean, he was just like, I don't know, they said like a second or something away, but it was so fast. I don't know what would have happened if she would have struggled to open that door just a few more seconds. Who knows what would have happened? Okay, so I don't know if that's built-in security cameras, and that's good that they did have that. It's crazy out here, right? We need to be able to pay more attention to our surroundings. Pay attention where you park your car, right? Pay attention to where you park your car. Now, we know that things happen in broad daylight. We know that some things are unavoidable, right? But we have to make sure that we are ensuring safety for ourselves and for our families, right? So we need to pay attention. When we park our car, when we pull into the parking lot at whatever, Walmart, whatever supermarket, shopping plaza, whatever, pay attention to who's around you. Pay attention to people who seem particularly out of place, or just maybe just staring or following you, showing up where you are. We need to pay attention, right? And so I want to show you this other clip, and this one is very disturbing too. It also almost brought tears to my eyes watching it. And this one was again in broad daylight, of a mom with her children, walking with her children, and someone actually was successful in getting the child grabbing the child and putting the child in the car. All right. It can be disturbing for those who are sensitive, right? But I want you to see this clip. Check this out.
Cops are looking for two men accused of attempting to abduct a child right off the street. Surveillance video provided by the NYPD shows the terrifying incident that took place around 8 o'clock at night in Queens. Investigators say two men in an older model maroon car pulled over. The driver got out of the car, ran over to a child on the sidewalk, picked him up, ran back to the vehicle, and put him in the back seat. The child's family chased the man to get the boy back. Cops say the child's mother was able to reach through the front passenger's window and pull the boy out, while the second suspect sat in the front seat. Cops say the boy, who was only 5, wasn't injured. The suspect who grabbed the child is described as a dark-skinned man in his 30s. The second suspect is described as a light-skinned man in his 50s or 60s wearing eyeglasses.
Okay. Whew. I was so grateful that this woman was able to pull that child out of the car. Luckily, the window was down. Luckily, the windows were down. I don't know what would have happened if the windows were up and she wasn't able to grab her child and get that boy out through the window. When we are walking with children, whether it's our children, grandchildren, whatever, we need to make sure that we are paying attention. Yes, I know some of the older kids don't want you to feel like you're babying them, holding their hands. I get it, but we need to make sure that we are paying attention, right? Now, one of your experts, he mentioned having pepper spray, right? Making sure that you have some pepper spray, something that will deter them from taking any further action, maybe to scare them off, run them off. You've had people who has been approached at gunpoint, right? Approached at gunpoint, and they're afraid, right? To be quite honest, I don't know what I would do in that situation, right? If I'm just getting to my car and I'm putting my groceries in the car, and I paid attention to my surroundings, and all of a sudden I open the door and I'm putting in my groceries in the car, and someone shows up and say, get in the car. I don't know what I would do. Would I still probably yell? Maybe so, right? Because I know what would happen if I don't I get in that car. I may not be returning, right? I may not be returning. And I will share with you a story. I've shared this story before when I was taking a walk in a park, right? My daily walks that I would take in the park, right? And this park is, it's a nice park, a nice nature park, and you can even go off. There's different trails, right? And one of the trails is more quieter. People still walk there, but not as much as the main park area, okay? Because it's kind of going off to the different little paths. They're short little paths, but they go to different areas, right? And I was walking and I saw someone standing at the side, right? And he was actually jerking off at the side in where the trees are. So I saw him, but I act like I didn't see him. And I continued to walk on, right? I said, okay, he's probably just going to do whatever he's doing and stay there. So I turned around and there he was, still masturbating and walking, coming behind me. Now, do I believe this young man had mental health issues? Yes, I believe so. All right. Was I going to stick around to find out? No, I was not. All right. And he started walking behind me. And I don't know. I didn't have any weapon. I didn't have anything. Right. Only thing I thought of doing was, having my New York attitude and trying to display that I'm tough and I'm not afraid of him. Right. And I just, went off on him yelling and screaming. I was like, oh, I don't even remember what I said, to be honest. I just went off saying something to him. I was like, oh, yeah, and whatever. I don't know what I said. I don't even remember. But it was enough to deter him, for him to fall back, as they say, and leave me alone. And he's like, all right, all right, all right. And he left me alone. But that could have been a very different situation had I not turned around, had I started running, no. And I said, I will not do that again. And I haven't, right? And I haven't. But we have to be aware. We have to be aware. Now, was it foolish of me on my part when I saw him there, to continue acting as if I didn't see him? Probably so. But had I turned around, he probably still would have done the same thing, because I turned around, my back is turned, and he could have still began to follow me. So either way it goes, he could have still done the same thing, right? But I say all of this to say, everyone is not your friend. Everyone is maybe not bad, but everyone also isn't good, right? Some people have ill intentions, right? Bad intentions, and they're out to hurt you. They're out to do things to you, right? And they don't have to know you. You can just be an easy target, right? What makes an easy target? Someone who's obviously a woman. We tend to be much more of an easy target, right? And somebody who is not paying attention. People who stuck in their iPhones, right? And with their earbuds, right? And not paying attention, right? So many people are distracted in their phones, not paying attention. Learn to be more aware. Learn to be more aware and pay attention of your surroundings. And this is why I wanted to talk about this topic. I'm going to show you something else that I like for you to take a look at. And this was another clip. And I actually know the person. I've actually met the person who is featured in this clip with the training that he does. And I wanted you to check this out. And as the woman, she's going to share her story. There's two people who share their stories as well. But what I want to say is that if we need to go out and get some pepper spray, if we need to purchase a handgun, I know everyone is not for handguns. If it's legal in your state to get a permit and own a handgun, if that's what we need to do, one of the videos that you was able to view, the man talked about getting an alarm, right? This alarm that makes like a siren noise, something that is going to deter these people.
If you are struggling with health issues like chronic pain, being held back by past traumas, or feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, please know there is hope. There is help. Transcendence, a woman's guide to healing and self-love for better health, happiness, and abundance, is a blueprint to help you get your life back and reclaim your health. Within its pages, you'll learn how to elevate your existence by shifting your mindset toward the positive, focusing your energy on what's really important, using gratitude to feel deep appreciation, changing your gene expression through epigenetics, building resilience, and living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. Go beyond an ordinary life. Transcend. Buy it now.
Now, and he also showed that too, if you are caught or by somebody grabbing you or something like that, the goal is to try to get away and save your life, right? Like the man said, if you could hit him in the groin, poke him in the eye, you have to do whatever you can do to save your life, okay? Do what you need to do to save your life. I want you to watch this other clip. Check this out.
I had left work early this particular day, and it was a really beautiful sunny day in May. And I was rushing into the store, and I noticed two men in a car watching me. But I thought, forget about it. Don't be like that. Just keep going. Get on with what you need to do. So I went into the store, hurried and bought all of my things, came out with a cart loaded full of all of this food and whatever, keys, purse, everything all over the place. Went and unlocked my car, threw everything in the back. I have a big SUV, threw it in the back. Didn't lock my car, just went all the way back to the cart rack and put away my cart. And when I got back to my car, two men with guns were standing there and said, "Get in and drive."
My name is Pat Malone. I'm a security consultant. I protect people and I teach people how to protect themselves.
He has taught defense and survival tactics to government, law enforcement, celebrities, and military personnel, including, listen to this, the Navy SEALs, the FBI, the Green Beret, Marine Reconnaissance, and many major police departments.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, Ron, for having me here. Thank you very much. This is the last time you're going to see me smile this morning, so hang on to that. I don't smile easily. I'm going to talk to you about violent crime.
What we ask Pat to do in our businesses is to give one of his seminars to the employees. It gives them information, it gives them ideas, it gives them awareness of how to avoid issues.
Based on my experience as a fugitive recovery agent, I try to tell people what is the right thing to do. And I'm very opinionated, I'm very blunt, oftentimes I'm abrasive, oftentimes my audience doesn't like what I have to say, but it's real in my world, and I try very hard to get that point across. I don't give a generic monotone talk. I think this is how it went down, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, I'm a hijacker, and these are my friends, and we're gonna take this plane, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? We've got movies, you've got your choice of 4, and we're gonna feed you. We've got steak, we've got lobster, we've got swordfish, and if you want all 3, God bless. Do you think that's how I got you to do what I want you to do and just go with me on that plane and have you sit there like little mice? You think that's how I got it done? No. You know how I got everybody's attention? I'm gonna move over here now to you, young lady. You know how I got everybody's attention? Let me show you. This is exactly how I did it. I grabbed a stewardess by the hair and I slit her throat. Now, if I slit this young lady's throat, do you think I would get everybody's attention in the room? You're damn right I would. Okay? So that's my point. I'm going to scare the living hell out of you to get you what I want you to do. So don't ever think, he's not getting me in the car. I'll never. And you know how many times I hear that? A lot. Bullshit. Excuse me. You're going to do. I'm going to make you wet your pants at least. I'm going to smash your teeth in. I'm going to break your nose. I'm going to make you taste your own blood. I'm going to hurt you. Lock that in. That's how I'm going to get you to do what I want you to do.
On December 18th of 2009, I took the day off work and was Christmas shopping alone. When I got there, I noticed a young gentleman also looking at iPods. And I only noticed him because he was young, he was attractive, dressed well. And I began speaking to the sales clerk about it. And this man, the same gentleman, was staring at me. So I went up to the register and I look over and he's standing next to me in line. And when I looked at him, I thought of Pat Malone. I kept thinking of everything that he had told us that day in my office, of being aware and watching everyone around me. I proceeded to walk to my car and I waited until I just got to the car and I hit the unlock button, jumped in, hit the lock button and shut the door as quickly as I possibly can. And as soon as I did that, The same gentleman I saw inside the store popped up on the driver's side door and tried opening the door and getting in the car.
A violent individual, there's not a textbook definition. You don't know what that violent person looks like. It could look like me, it could look like you, but there are people that have evil intentions. What does an evil intention look like? You don't know. So you have to anticipate that you might encounter these kinds of people by being aware of what's going on around you. A violent person is somebody that's not afraid to act on whatever comes to their mind. They're not afraid to go to that next step.
Nobody in this room expects to be maimed or raped or killed before morning. Am I right? I'm 100% right. And you know what? That's when I show up. When I close that gap, you're not going to get away from me. I'm harmless, honey. I'm harmless. When I close that gap, you're not going to get away from me. I promise you that. So lock that in. There's no magic pill. There's no easy this, easy that. This is all about inconveniencing yourself.
When I first heard Pat talk about the safety prevention in our office, I listened and I thought, well, that's obvious. You know, he's not telling me anything I shouldn't know. It wasn't until something happened to me that I realized his words were so important. And I heard his voice over and over in my head. And, you know, thank God for him, because I took his words to heart when it was happening to me.
The thing I want you to do is resist. And let me preface that with what might be perfectly appropriate in one situation might be lethal in another. I'm going to tell you something like, get in the car and I promise I won't hurt you. Do what I say and I promise I won't hurt you. And let me tell you something. The guy with the gun in your face is not a truth teller. So don't ever think he's not getting me in the car.
One was then behind me in the car with the gun, and one was next to me in the passenger side. And I know I should have screamed or run or done anything, something, but I just couldn't. I froze. I just completely froze. I know that I should have reacted, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. I don't know why. So I drove, and eventually, it was a very long day with a series of being hit, being assaulted and sexually assaulted, and after they'd done some horrendous things, I said to God, I just was, you know, if you want me to give up, it would be so much easier if I could just give up and not even try to live. But if you want me to live, you have to give me strength. And I decided then that I needed to start doing something. So I just started noticing everything, listening to cell phone calls, memorizing what their shoes looked like, because I could see their feet under the driver's seats, smells, anything. I was very, very hot, very, very sweaty, and I chewed through the duct tape that was on my mouth, and I chewed through the duct tape on my hands. And I don't know why. I don't know how I thought I was going to get out, but I just felt like I needed to do something.
The first thing I want you to do is react immediately. Okay, and you got to think about this now, because you're not going to be able to react when I show up. The key to any learning process, again, is repetition and review. The way you practice is the way you perform. You've got to use that mental imagery. When I show up, there's two choices. You have two choices. Do something or do nothing. And I have two choices. Let you live or leave no witnesses.
At one point at the end of the day, it got very, very quiet. And I could see that there weren't any feet on the passenger side or the driver's side. And, you know, I didn't know if they were standing outside the car or why it was quiet, but I shoved the seat up, and I could see that the keys were in the ignition. And I just decided this was it, and I threw the seat up and swung my legs over, turned on the gas, and drove. And I'm here. I Some days I can't believe that I'm here. Probably isn't a day that doesn't pass that I don't think about that day and how horrible it was. But I feel very blessed to be here. So I think I need to tell my story because people need to know that these things happen. I met Pat Malone shortly after I was kidnapped. Pat's message is one that needs to be heard. I mean, women are vulnerable. Young people, young women are especially. I mean, the world is not a safe place. And you need to protect yourself and you need to be aware of your surroundings. And so the message is very important. I don't want anyone else to have to go through a day like I went through.
When Pat told us about the sixth sense, I never thought it would actually happen, but it really does happen. My inner being said to me, this guy is going to rob you. And had he not had that discussion with me, I probably would have been oblivious to it. I'm glad that I took the precautions I did, and I wouldn't have taken those precautions had I not had that training from Pat Malone.
My name is Pat Malone, and my purpose is to keep America safe. That's my vision, to keep the violent criminal away from you through education, through my education. And I want you to realize that, think about these thoughts. Is it worth it to go out of your way 9 times if the 10th time saves you from a bad situation? Personally, for myself and the people I care about, I'd rather not find myself in a situation that I could have avoided with a little planning. You better believe the bad guy is planning, and it only has to happen once.
Okay, so I hope that you was able to get something out of watching this episode today. I wanted to share his clip. He actually shared this with me, and he asked me to share it, right? So this is why I'm making a podcast episode on this particular topic, how to be safe, learning how to be more aware of your surroundings, all right? Let's start paying attention, get out of our phones, get out of our heads. Sometimes we can be caught up in thoughts, right? We could be physically somewhere, but really mentally somewhere else, right? So we need to be present and be aware of our surroundings at all times. Just like the woman in the video, she was entering her apartment, never knew that somebody was walking in behind her, never knew. And that's a scary feeling. That's a scary feeling. All right. Let us be safe. Let us pay attention. Let us share this video, this episode with as many people as you can, whatever, or just share about being women, ladies. You should not be going jogging or walking with your earbuds blasting, with your music blasting in your ears. You will never hear someone creeping behind you. You'll never hear it if your music is loud. Okay? I mean, they can step on something. They can, which at least with your volume being at a low sound, you can kind of hear, right? And turn around, check around you, check what's happening around you, right? Check what, maybe carry something, carry a stick, carry something where you can defend yourself if need to, right? We want to be safe. We want our children to be safe. Let's be more aware. Stay alert. Be safe. Bye for now.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Health Coach for Women with Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.